Greetings, hello ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all had a very nice Christmas, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the Papo 2018 Quetzalcoatlus. I'm also trying a new review format because I got a turntable and I want to kind of get creative with some shots that I use, so I'm recording the audio prior to recording the visuals, and I'm just sort of looking at the figure in hand here, so let me know what you think of this new format down below. But anyway, Papo Quetzalcoatlus, probably my most hyped figure from 2018 from Papo, but I got it over 2 years later. I just got this one a little over a month ago at my local science shop. They had a bit of a sale going for the holidays. And this one is really interesting. There are really two types of views on this figure. There's the people who really like this one, there's the people who hate this one. I've never really seen in between on it. I'm sort of in between, although I lean more towards really liking it the longer I've had it. There are just some really interesting quirks about it. For starters, the detail on this one is really nice, as to be expected from Papo. It's not the best detailing I've seen from the company, but it could be a lot worse. You have some really nice fine picnofiber detail running down the back of the animal and all the way down the neck. The wrinkles and folds in the skin are very nice, of course. This figure has quite muscular muscles running down its arms and its chest as well, and a very thick muscular neck. But the most awkward part of the detailing for me is just having the vertebrae on the back between the shoulders just completely shrink-wrapped, and it looks so malnourished. You can see the backbone of the animal like basically poking through the skin. And the only reasoning behind this that I can think of is that they wanted to make it look more intimidating and kind of, you know, awesome bro, malnourished dino looks really intimidating and cool kind of thing. But in this case, it just looks really awkward, and it is easily the most awkward design choice on this entire figure. The second most odd part of the detailing for me are the veins in the wings. The veins just feel really big and awkwardly veiny, for lack of a better word. I don't know how to describe it, but just something about the veins in the wing membranes just looks really off to me in a way. Besides those two things, the detailing overall across the body is really nice. I have to say the overall head shape of this figure is great. It definitely captures the as darkened look for this pterosaur, and I really like the distribution of colors across the whole piece as well. The colors I feel like could be more interesting overall, but for Papo, it's pretty nice. You have a really dulled down grayish blue going down the back of the head and the back of the neck of the animal. That disappears quickly into a more typical brown color going down the rest of the animal with the picnofibered part of its bodies. The wings and the underside are all done in a tan. The claws are done in a black color, of course, and the beak has a really nice sort of black mottled pattern going down the tip of it and up the top for a little bit. But my absolute favorite part of the coloration has to be the crest on the top of the head, and it just looks really nice. You have a nice transition between that bright yellow and bright orange, and you have a really nice black mesh pattern going over it to really bring attention to it, and I think that is a great addition on this figure. Looks really nice against the sort of peachy tans on the face and the browns, and then of course that sort of faded out bluish gray that's going down the back of the head. The eyes have really nice paint on them. They are done in a piercing yellow color, and they actually have a hint of a red surrounding the pupil as well. If that will show up in camera, I'll try to get a good shot of that. And as commonly seen with a lot of other Papo figures, this Quetzalcoatlus does have an articulated jaw, but similar to the Caprosuchus, it has an articulated upper jaw. It's one of only two figures from Papo currently that have an articulated upper jaw. The concept for the articulated upper jaw on this pterosaur is great, but execution-wise, it could have used a lot of work. There was one of these at the store where I got this one where the top jaw was completely ripped off of it, and you could see the mechanism on the inside, and it overall is very wobbly and just, I don't feel like I can trust it putting too much pressure on it. It also doesn't hold its pose nearly as well as other Papo articulated jaws. But besides the articulation being a kind of letdown, also I wish it could open wider than it can. The interior of the mouth detailing is pretty nice. You have a really nice tongue in there, and even the roof of the mouth has some nice detailing. There's even some grooves on the inside of the top jaw of the animal that actually really remind me of a modern day goose or duck tongue with the grooved edges on it, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, overall the head sculpt wise is great, but it's just the execution with the articulated jaw that I'm not a big fan of. The only other thing that I wanted to touch on with this one is the pose, and that is a hot topic of debate for this one. The pose is really interesting, and I have to say, I really like it. But I also don't like it at the same time because I have been dying for more figures of landed Asdarchids because they looked so intimidating and so cool when they were in a landed pose. And mainly because of their long giraffe-like necks. I mean, Quetzalcoatlus was so big that it could look a giraffe in the eye when it was landed. And I just think it would have been cool to have this Quetzalcoatlus in a tall, standing pose with the neck stretched up and the head looking down. But I will say this pose is very creative and kind of unsettling and creepy. And you know, with the whole sort of emaciated look of the body with the vertebrae almost poking through the skin and sort of the really dark colors and patterns, it almost has kind of a decaying vibe to it, for lack of a better word. And I think it just looks really cool, and it almost reminds me of some modern day vultures. Like, you can see this thing slinking around, and I mean, this thing is the size of like a small plane. It would have been really intimidating to see this thing slinking around looking for prey. And this pose is great for photography. I've seen some amazing photography on Instagram from some people I follow, and I need to go out and take some better pictures of this one myself. I think it's a very photogenic pose, just has some slight quirks to it. But anyway, in case you're wondering how large this one is, from the tip of the beak to the tip of the tail, there is a slight curve to it, but it is right around 8 inches long, which is about 19 centimeters. And in terms of the highest point at the top of the crest on the head, we are looking at right around 3 inches, which is about 8 centimeters. And another thing I forgot to mention actually is that the wings can warp easily over time. Like, you can kind of see mine's 2 front hands are really sort of kicked out to the side. And one other sort of accuracy thing I forgot to mention is that the tips of the wings could definitely be rounded out more for aerodynamics. And looking at the neck more as well, I feel like the neck could be longer, most definitely, and be beefed out more, especially towards the base of the neck where it connects to the body. Anyway, before comparison, I will bring out the Papo Tupawara. This is a retired pterosaur released from them back in 2015. Really nice pterosaur figure. Still probably my favorite one from them overall. The Quetzalcoatlus is a very, very close second for me. But the Tupawara unfortunately was retired for the ridiculous reasoning that Papo stated it was too difficult for people to pronounce the name Tupawara, so they retired the figure. Which is a shame because there are no other affordable figures of Tupawara out on the market to my knowledge. We have like a halfway decent one from Schleich coming out, and that's halfway decent for Schleich, not halfway decent in general. So it's a shame this one is retired. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for this review of the Papo 2018 Quetzalcoatlus. I really like this one overall. It does have those Papo style quirks to it, which we can come to expect, and in this case I think the really unique pose makes for a very photogenic and interesting looking figure. Looks intimidating in a very unique way, like I said. So let me know if you have this one down below, what your thoughts are on it, and if you plan on getting this one, or just let me know your thoughts in general. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video. So take care, and bye bye.